I will tell you what happened the way it happened, the way it tasted in my mouth and sat like a stone in my belly, because sometimes the only way to heal is to open your chest and let the hot air out. My name is Adesuwa, a dark-skinned woman whose skin has drunk plenty sun and harmattan and still shines the way palm oil shines in a black pot. People used to point at me and Ayotunda and say, "God, when?" They said our love was like puff puff, round, golden, sweet, soft at the center. They saw matching ankara at weddings. They saw those selfie collages where he was kissing my cheek and I was holding his chin like it belonged in my palm. They saw Bible verses on our WhatsApp status at 6 a.m. sharp. All those couple quotes we shared, simple words dressed like Sunday clothes. They saw the 3-bedroom flat in Bodesia, where the generator hummed like a satisfied cat, and the curtains fell heavy and rich. They saw my small catering business, steaming with jollof and peppered gizzard, saw his suits ironed and straight like good intentions as he left for the oil firm. And they believed, perfect. But all that glitters is not gold. Sometimes it is just dust, in sunlight pretending to be holy. The first hairline crack came quiet as morning dew. A late night here, a work dinner there. "Traffic, my love," he said, and kissed my forehead with a mouth that tasted of mint and apology. I believed him because this was the same man who once wrote me 4 pages of sorry for forgetting our toasting anniversary. Do you know what it means for a Yoruba man with big shoulders to write 4 full pages of sorry? I framed that letter in my mind and hung it in the hallway of my heart. Then the phone thing started. He caged it like a precious bird. If it buzzed, he flew. If it breathed, he jumped. If my hand even stretched like curiosity towards it, he appeared with that small laugh. Men laugh when they want you to feel stupid. Babe, why are you touching my phone? As if time had relocated from the wall clock and moved to his screen. At night he snored like a small tiger generator, steady, confident, vibrating the mattress. I lay on my back, watching the ceiling fan draw slow circles of doubt. Is it stress? Am I paranoid? Is this how marriage matures? Quietly, with secret drawers. But there is a small woman that lives in the chest, where prayers gather and scatter. She was tapping her foot against my rib bone, whispering, "Something is off." I told her to rest. I told her, for better, for worse, like it was a lullaby. She was not persuaded. The day the sky split, it was a Sunday, with the lazy sweetness of stew and naps. He claimed Bible study, came home smelling of traffic and cologne, dropped his phone on the couch as if the devil himself pushed his hand and went to bathe. The phone lit up. I wasn't even trying to sin. I only glanced with the innocence of a cat looking at fish. The preview said, "Baby, last night was sweet like fire. I miss you already. Love you." Sugar, sugar. The word rose like a rash on the screen. I picked the phone. I clicked. A soft-skinned, pout-lipped girl looked back from the profile photo. Caption shouting, "Living soft. No stress zone." Something in my chest did bing, 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 as if all the generator coils had sparked at once. I put the phone down very gently, like it might explode and carry my eyes along. From the bathroom he was singing an alibi song, happy as a goat chewing nylon. It was almost funny how God can let 2 realities stand side by side on one rug. I didn't quarrel that day. I warmed rice. I placed turkey. I laughed at his weak jokes about Lagos drivers, as if Ibadan's Danfo men don't do their own madness. I went to bed beside him and watched him sleep. I watched the mouth that said, "My love," relax around a snore. I watched the hand that signed our church register lie foolish and open. I planned. In the morning, I tied my jewel like a woman who came to settle matters. I wore perfume like armor. I sat with my small blue diary, the one I used to note pepper and crayfish money, and I connected Sugar's number to Instagram. with an app my younger cousin taught me. It took one breath. Her page opened like a loud pink gate. Bisola Locks Boutique, Ring Road. Wigs flashing like parrots. Dresses clinging like gossip. Fake bags with big logos. Captions sharp as new blade. Life is short. Take your man and spoil yourself. I am not your mate. Ask your husband. Ask your husband. The words hissed like a pot of stew catching at the bottom. I whispered, okay. Her shop was pink like bubblegum and shamelessness. Mannequins stood outside, wearing outfits stitched with 1 yard and prayer. Inside, wigs hung like wet flags. She was behind the counter painting her nails, long and pink like offense. Good afternoon, Ma, she sang. Welcome to Bisola Locks. Are you the owner? I asked. Yes, Ma, she beamed. How can I help you? You can help me by answering a question, I said, folding my arms the way my mother folds yam pounder into obedience. Do you know a man named Ayotunde Alade? She blinked like a girl meeting the first test of a day. Sorry, the name again. My husband, I said. I left the 2 words on the glass counter like hot iron. I saw your message. I saw your picture. I saw everything. Her face shook for 1 second, the way a roof flutters when wind passes, then settled into the lazy confidence of somebody who has never been properly disciplined by life. She crossed her arms. Okay, and so? You knew he was married. I didn't ask. He didn't tell me, she answered, face like chewing gum. Then she smiled like she was tasting sugar. He said he's tired of his marriage. That you are always shouting, he wants peace of mind, peace of mind. I wanted to peel the phrase and wear it like a mask so she could see herself. Peace of mind, I repeated, tasting how bitter it was. Auntie, let us be honest. She tilted her head, lashes heavy with arrogance. If your husband has time for me, maybe you are not doing your job. Men like softness. When women speak from the balcony of their ignorance, wind usually blows their wrapper. My blood stood at attention, but I put water on the fire of my tongue and smiled the smile my aunties call dangerous sweet. Enjoy it while it lasts, I told her softly. But I promise you, you will beg God before this week ends. And I left. She called him before my car had finished turning. I knew because later I would hear it in his voice. That sweaty panic of a man, whose 2 worlds just shook hands rudely. He came home early, door banging like thunder. Adeswa, he shouted as if my name owed him. Yes, I answered. Without looking up from the folded clothes, I had already folded, like a woman who knew war needed order. Why did you go to meet her? He demanded. You embarrassed her. You harassed her. That is childish. I laughed. I laughed the laugh of women who are tired of being painted with patience. They did not order. I should have talked to you first. I asked politely. The man who hides his phone like it is nuclear code. The man receiving sugar while I am here sweating over a goosey. You want me to ask permission to rescue my own roof from fire. Don't worry. Since you want to play devil, I will be your guest. As for your sugar, I took 1 step closer, and my shadow covered his shoes. I will turn her to bitter leaf. He pointed at me, eyes hot, ego bleeding. If you want peace in this house, you will apologize to her. 24 hours. I watched him like a patient watching a mosquito fatten itself. I'd apologize, I repeated, and smiled until my molars shone. So that you can love me again? You are a foolish man. Respectfully. I closed the door gently so that my anger would not wake the neighbors. That night, when the generator hummed and his snore resumed that familiar bass line, I brought out my laptop. Evidence, screenshots, transfers, photos, voice notes. It is amazing how careless men become when lust holds the torch. He had stored things like a hungry child hoarding meat. I opened a new Instagram and Twitter with a name that would hold the anger of 1 million women who pretend to be fine. Wives united for justice. I blurred some faces. I left some. I captioned softly, the way Pepper speaks in stew. Some girls think they can chew people's husbands and go free. Let the world see them with the warnings. And then I posted, and I slept well for the first time in months. By morning, the internet was already boiling yam. Her boutique page turned into a market of curses. Husband snatcher, they typed. A whole boutique of a showo. It was too much, and also not enough at all. I was sipping Zobo when my phone rang with the urgency of a guilty soul. It was him. "What have you done?" he cried, voice full of the fear of a man whose reflection just learned to talk. I chewed suya slowly and faced him over the bowl. "Welcome," I said. "Sit. Eat. My pictures are everywhere," he gasped. "Your pictures that you took," I corrected gently. "May your own hands never fail to testify about you." He fell on his knees, dignity scattered like peanuts. "You ruined my career." "No," I said, stroking my own softness, the way one strokes a cat that has finally returned home. "You ruined your career. I simply turned on the light." But I tell you, wickedness has a sister called consequence. And sometimes she brings her twin called mirror. That night, while I slept the sleep of a widow whose husband is alive, she posted him too, another anonymous account, perhaps her own league of wounded girls. The comments roasted him sweet and crackling, like plantain left too long on the fire. Church members called, his boss called, his mother, poor woman, called in the voice mothers keep for funerals and foolishness. He went to work and came back almost immediately, clutching a white envelope that looked like the ghost of a future. "We don't do naked brand ambassadors here," HR had told him. He was a meme, a warning, a joke, a cautionary tale with strong jawline. I didn't wait for the apology he didn't understand. I packed my things quietly, the way a woman folds her last prayer and hides it in her bra. I left a note on the table, simple as a stone. "Since you like sugar enough to protect it with your chest, where you expose my back, go and live inside her sugar bowl. As for me, I am gone. God keep you. Do not call me. Your number is blocked from my past." I took the wall clock too, because I bought it, and because time belongs to whoever respects it. I moved into a small serviced apartment that smelled of new paint and possibility. The first night I slept with the light on, not because of fear, but because the room needed to meet my face properly. My friend Itoro brought me flowers and gossip and moral support spiced with pepper. "You did well," she said, flipping her braids. "The drama you served the internet, 10 over 10, I laughed. Let's just say everyone met their reflection. We clinked glasses over cold juice, like two tired angels returning from war. To peace," I said. "To better days. To blocking ungrateful men forever," she added. And we shouted amen loud enough to rattle all the lies that had ever camped in my throat. But after laughter, night always brings its own questions. In the quiet, I remembered the girl with pink nails. I remembered her haughty chin and soft, foolish eyes. I saw the version of me I used to be, the one who believed matching outfits could bind a man's wandering heart. I saw my mother tying wrapper in our backyard, her fingers quick with yam, telling me in that voice that was both brooms and lullaby. Love is not enough a desua. Respect is bread and butter. Faithfulness is water. Without them, love will choke. I thought of the little things that went missing before the big loss. The easy laughter, the way he used to reach for my hand while crossing a road, the way he listened when I spoke about pepper prices and customer wahala, how he once cleaned fish for me in the kitchen, how we danced one Harmattan night with no music, socks sliding on tile like teenagers. Grief is not only for the dead, it is for the good ordinary that becomes foreign. It is for the simple bowl of OG that no longer tastes the same because the spoon is missing. My phone rang many times those first weeks. His name would flash and die because I had blocked him from the front door of my phone but not from the backyard of my mind. He sent messages through mutual friends, through his mother, through God knows who. There were apologies with holes in them, soft promises sewn with threads that had already snapped. I was stressed. It meant nothing. She set me up. Men can make sin sound like a spelling mistake. I did not go back, not because I am made of stone, but because I finally honored the woman tapping her foot in my chest. She was right from the beginning. I owed her a home where silence is clean. Work saved me. Rice saved me. Pepper and smoke, and the raw joy of stirring a big pot for people who will lick their fingers and say, "God bless your hand." I leaned into my business with the stubbornness of a goat that has seen green leaf. Orders came. Weddings called. One afternoon, I shivered from exhaustion and pride, looking at trays of steaming jollof lined like soldiers, each one shining red and confident. My kitchen smelled of time and victory. The girls who helped me sang along to a radio program where the presenter was busy advising women to be patient and submissive, to pray more, to ignore. I laughed and stirred, and the wooden spoon thudded heavy against the pot. Pray, yes. Ignore, never again. Do you know what I learned? That anger is a river, and if you don't give it a safe channel, it will flood your house. I learned to sit with my rage and feed it boiled plantain until it stopped shaking the table. I learned that my body holds truth the way kegs hold palm wine, tight, fizzy, eager to be poured. When something is wrong, the body tells you in small languages. A tightening neck, a headache that sits behind your eye like a landlord, a laugh that feels borrowed. I learned to listen. I learned to walk in markets alone, to price tomatoes without needing a second opinion, to go to church and raise both hands in worship without feeling like a liar. I learned that my skin is not a uniform for suffering. It is a drum that deserves songs. One evening as Ibadan's sky flamed orange, like a ripe mango, I found myself outside a restaurant with Itoro again, this time on the laughing side of memory. The breeze carried the smell of suya and diesel, the twin perfumes of our cities. Itoro said, "If he appears here now and kneels in the gutter and cries your name, you won't even look." "I will look," I said, honest as a clean plate. "I will bless him and send him away." "You're strong," she whispered. "I am growing," I corrected, and we clinked glasses. But life is not a straight road. One afternoon, months after, I saw Bisola again by accident in a supermarket aisle, between milk and sugar. Life has a wicked sense of humor. She looked smaller somehow, her lashes shorter, her mouth less sure. Our eyes collided, then danced away, then back. For a heartbeat, we stood like two goats measuring each other's horns. Then she walked toward me, and I braced like a boxer. "Auntie," she said, voice low, eyes wet in a way even mascara cannot command. "I am sorry." The aisle became a tunnel. People's voices moved far, far away. I imagined the world she had been living in. DMs like arrows, business dragging, whispers in her own compound. I hated what she had done. I hated what he had done through her. But I suddenly understood that the same river that had tried to drown me had also washed her house. The difference between sinner and sinned against is sometimes only timing. "I am not your auntie," I said, gentle as a palm against a baby's back. "But I understand regret." She nodded, swallowed. "He promised heaven," she said. And the way she said it told me she had found hell instead. I thought. I don't know what I thought. "I know," I said. "Go and be good to yourself. That is the only way to pay back a life you almost ruined." She nodded again. And we parted like two women, stepping out of rain under two different roofs. Sometimes at night, when the city quiets and generators take their break, I lie on my bed with the window open to catch the shy wind. I think of marriage, the way our mothers wore it like gel. Tight, beautiful, headache-inducing if you tie it wrong. I think of the girls growing now, learning to contour their faces, not their boundaries. I think of church benches and whispered advice. I think of soft men with sharp habits and sharp men with soft lies. I think of me, Adesua, woman with dark skin and bright eyes, seller of pepper and soldier of her own heart. I think of the lesson that entered my life like a thief and left like a teacher. Love is not evidence of loyalty. Loyalty is evidence of love. If you ask me whether I did too much, I will tell you I did exactly enough to cut my chain and walk. If you ask whether I regret bringing thunder to the internet, I will tell you thunder is just sound. It is lightning that does the work. Shame lives where secrecy sleeps. Open the window and it flies out. It is not every war that requires noise, but sometimes noise is a trumpet that brings down Jericho walls. The day my divorce became final, the court clerk stamped the paper with a dull thud that sounded like old doors closing on ghosts. Outside, the sky was cloudy and kind. I bought Puff Puff from a woman whose oil crackled with gossip and joy. I ate them hot, sugar dusting my lips, sweet on my tongue, and I laughed at the old joke people told about my marriage. Sweet, like Puff Puff. Maybe it was once. Now I prefer plantain, ripe when I choose, fried by my own hand. I went home to my kitchen. I tied my wrapper tight. I put on music and danced small, alone but not lonely. I cooked stew that evening that could make a tired man forgive his enemies. The girl said, "Madam, the pepper balanced today." I said, "It is freedom." Later, Itoro and I sat on my tiny balcony, our feet up on the railing, watching night lean over the city and tuck it in. The street below had its usual orchestra, a baby crying one house away, a radio preaching for the next house, a couple quarreling by the gate and making up with laughter, a cake rattling its skeleton down the street. Itoro said, "Tell me the truth. Do you miss him?" I breathed in the smell of charcoal and rain. "I miss who I thought he was," I said. "Not who he is." "And the future." She teased. "Will you marry again?" I smiled into the soft dark. "If a man comes with clean hands, clean eyes, clean phone, and a spine, we will negotiate. If not, I am fine with my pots, my pepper, my God, my laughter, my own arms." We fell silent, and the silence was friendly. Somewhere, a generator coughed and died. Even machines know when to rest. I held my glass of Zobo to the light and watched it glow like a small ruby heart. I toasted inside my mouth so only my soul could hear. To the woman who stayed up nights listening to the small tapping in her chest. To the woman who walked out, not because she hated him, but because she finally loved herself properly. To the woman whose dark skin holds stories like star maps. To the woman who learned that sometimes the only way to keep sweetness is to throw away the fake sugar. I am that woman. My name is Adezoa. If you ever meet me at a party, just know I will be the one laughing with all my teeth. The one who dances when the talking drum remembers my name. The one whose stew tastes like tomorrow. And if you ask for the recipe of the stew or my survival, I will tell you the truth as plainly as gari in water. Keep your heart honest. Keep your eyes open. Keep your phone password yours. And when a man chooses darkness, do not follow him there. Walk in your own light. It looks beautiful on dark skin.